Well, the last few days have been entirely uneventful to say the very least. There could be a technical reason as to why the price action pulled back from its October 30th highs. So why don't we just go ahead and pop open the charts to gain ourselves a true edge over the coming sessions ahead. Welcome back to the channel on this Money Monday. This is ARCa, and let's dive into GME. Let's kill 'em, team. What is up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. Please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, do everything necessary to get this thing to live long, thrive, and survive. Let's go ahead and take a look at GME here on the daily time frame, and we can already see that there is some type of formation being built here, but unfortunately the last days on GME have been incredibly uneventful, right? So I just want to go ahead and point out that there were some macro closures here, right? So for example, the monthly time frame just closed, right? So this is our prior monthly bar, and if we're speaking here 60 to 70% of the time, we get a prior month or prior bar pullback right at the opening of the next one. You can see here that we're sitting right at the 50% of that month right now. So very curious there. We also got the bi-monthly close. Okay, now that bi-monthly close is showing us that this would be the range of the bi-monthly prior bar right over here, right? And you can see right on the price action, right? Let's put a trend line on here so you can observe right there, right? This opened here just about 3-4 days ago, right? And you can see here that the price action dipped down and bounced right off of the bi-monthly 50% prior bar, right? Now, the other time frame that we closed was in fact the 5-month bar, right? So that 5-month bar has an extreme range, and that is where we are suggesting the potential continuation of price action to a top end of this area here at around $30, right? So we were already well on our way towards that, right? Getting up to 2306 before the markets started showing a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear, right? So let's go ahead and kind of bring this down here to the weekly time frame and see what's up, right? Because honestly, we were talking about the daily, right? So why don't we just go ahead and look at the daily time, and I want to display to you here something that could be it's something that's potentially being built within the price action. So I'm going to use here some formation theory, guys. For those of you who already know who I am, you guys know that I typically am algorithmic. I build models, right? I build high frequency trading systems. I guess I have a good discretion, right, for technical trading, but I'm more of a statistical analyst, right? I like to observe stats more than I do anything like technicals, right? But we still have the edge here, so why don't we just go ahead and display it for everyone nonetheless, right? So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this formation here, as it appears as though we are building some type of pennant, right? So let's just go ahead and gather ourselves all of the details here. So please go ahead and identify the support levels here. Actually, the support levels would be right about here, right? Getting this candle support and this candle support. Of course, the middle one giving us a little bit of deviation, and we have the 3 bottom ones down here connected to the first one as a nice contact point, right? So the reason why I did connect the, I would say this here to this, right, is because we have these 3 contact points here that are trying to validate the break of the regression, right? So this trend line regression is currently being tested as a potential breakout and continuation for price, right? So that's typically what happens when you break out of a major inflection zone, right? So in this case here, yeah, it's a little bit of a, diagonal lines in the stock trading are not always the best lines to observe, but it's all good. This triangle family, this would be your bull pennant, tends to break out roughly when it approaches about 65 to 75% to the apex of the triangle here. And you can see that we're just at about that 75, a little slightly above that on that percentage, right? So we did get that break towards the upside. The first target could have been observed here simply by the first candle to get that breakout, right? So if that first candle got the breakout, then we would observe the targets to be of higher probability into this resistance range, right? So we didn't, let me see. Yeah, so we actually got up to this level here, so that's not bad. Why don't we just go ahead and take into consideration the target number 2 and number 3, right? So target number 2 would be the center of the triangle for the implied target, and the Third target would be the widest point of the triangle, right, team? So I got to say that the most popular breakout target would actually be the center of the triangle. So just kind of bear that in mind here, and always maybe take note, right? But it depends on the asset, guys. It really depends on the asset. In this case, we know that we would have to backtest GME on the daily time frame for this pennant here to see how many times it's actually succeeded that pennant and how many times has it met the middle target or the first target or the third target, right? So this is the third target that we're observing here. Very curious top end here at the 50% of our zone at around 28.67, of which I believe we already had kind of jotted down here. We haven't, right? But it is listed there. So let's just go ahead and make sure to keep that there uninterrupted. Now, the middle target would lead price action towards the top end of $25.24, which is curious because this area here is about that $25 target resistance, right? That top end that we faced on September 9th, 2024, which was a Monday, right? So that's a very curious target that we're getting from that middle target, right? So first of all, team, yeah, we have this decline here in price action, and I will say that with this decline comes declining volume too, right? So that often tells you that there could be weakness towards that bear thesis, right? So let's go ahead and find out in stochastic momentum what that can entail, right? So let's just go ahead and put here some of these targets for us to observe a little bit later. And yeah, the rest will be history, right? So there we go. Let's go ahead and now take a look at the immediate short term of stochastic momentum versus volatility in linear, right? So yeah, we're starting to get, just like we talked about right here, right, team? We were looking at this downside in price action here, and we're actually completely contracting here, right? So think of this as your gas pedal, right? So volatility would be your gas pedal for your car. If you're gonna gas it going faster and faster, then we're gonna go expanding, right? It would be expansion. If you're gonna let go of the gas so we can slow down, it would actually be contraction, right? So you can see here that we've been drastically slowing down the purchases here of both short and long for this asset, right? Look at this sideways price action here for days, right? Just literal sideways trading, no real action happening right now, right? Let's go to the bi-hourly time frame and see what's up. Bi-hourly time frame also has a little bit of consolidative type of pivot here or posturing, right? So we also have to watch out for that. Also, contraction here has entered the critical zone, right? So that's mainly where people really just don't do anything at all. The 3-hour time frame also trying to get this little bit of contraction phase suggested too, with a massive amount of contraction there. Let's go ahead and see the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, look at this, just consolidating, right? What I meant on the 3-hour was consolidating with contraction. So here as well, right? We're getting the contraction, we're getting consolidating signals here, and let's go to the 6-hour time frame. Same situation, right? Consolidating with a little bit of expansion right here, barely any though, right? So let's look at the 8-hour, see where the signs kind of end right here, right? So just a little bit of contraction here, a little bit of contractive. This would be the consolidative, right? Price action here. So 12-hour time frame, same situation as the 8-hour. And finally, the daily time frame does have expansion happening here with a downside on your stochastic momentum indicator. So that would actually be of some pretty good merit, considering that this is very close to the gravitational point of the stochastic momentum indicator. So this would be leading into the bearish control zone down here if we did suggest continuation on that direction bias, right? Bi-hourly time frame looks like it's having a massive contraction phase with a very weakened upside pivot. The 3-day time frame does show a little bit of upside, but it has consolidative properties as well. We also just closed that 3-day with a red inside bar and a massive contraction. So really no attention being around this asset, right? So 2 days to close the 4-day time frame with a pretty nice upside pivot and huge contraction on this. This can only tell us that there could be some type of move coming, but it won't be until probably the 3-day time frame as far as lows, right? 5-day time frame showing upside with massive contraction here. Weekly time frame also huge contraction with an upside bias. So the more time frames we have with this high amount of contraction and potential support bounce being found, the better the odds are for a potential bounce towards that upside or continuation towards that upside, right? So if we were talking about a potential drawdown here using the 3-day time frame. So that would be around $2.61 of lows, right? Starting from the 3-day open. So the 3-day open here was about $22.83. So that would give us a low of about $20.21. So $20.21 naturally brings us to right around this range here, right? So it's very much the low of these candles right there. So I would say, I would give it a little bit of a range there to a zone for us to observe, right? Because there is a gap in this area here. So let's just mark that off and say that there is a few days worth of price action here for a potential drop into this area. So just remember that this is not guaranteed whatsoever. It is very, very speculative, which means that there may not actually be any of that downside at all, considering all the contraction that we're getting. Okay, guys, think of this price action here as just an update. Okay, guys, I want to encourage you to try to join the ARCa Bulls trading team by hitting those links on the left-hand side, right? Make sure to hit those so you can join the ARCa Bulls trading team in one shot and forever be an ARCa Bulls trading member. Okay, you guys, but with that said, I think this is a pretty good place to leave off the video, and we shall speak very, 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 very soon. All right, team. Please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. Ever, 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 ever. I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well a very, very good rest of your night and or day. And I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios, team.